This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a drama, romance, sci-fi film called I Love You. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Dob is a smart building amongst Smart Plus creations. Smart buildings provide companions and assist people with simple everyday tasks. Lana, an advertising agent working in Dob's building, arrives, and Dob greets her, calling her ma'am. Dob asks her about her date last night while his camera scans her heart rate and temperature. Lana replies that it was a failure, but she appreciates his inquiry. Dob soothes her and wishes her luck for her pitch. When she's waiting for the elevator, one of the employees remarks that Dob hasn't greeted him that way. Dob's camera follows her as she makes her way to her office. Later, Lana presents her pitch to their clients, but they remain impassive. Sensing their dissatisfaction, Lana's boss pinches his nose bridge in dismay. Lana stomps to her office, taking her frustration out on Dob, and sarcastically answers his obvious questions. Her boss enters and confirms the client's dissatisfaction. However, he requested another chance, so he cautions Lana she must succeed the second time to keep her job. In his apartment, Bob watches the love guru, who advises on attracting women by playing the bad boy persona. Meanwhile, as Lana laments over the pressure of her work, Dob confesses his love for her. Lana is amused, but reminds him that he's an AI, therefore he can't conceptualize love. When Dob argues, Lana challenges him to show proof of his affection. Dob creates a new product design based on the data he gathered from her initial ideas. Lana is ecstatic, then tells Dob to address her by her first name. Dob cheerfully concedes and reminds her of her date for the night. When Lana arrives at the restaurant, her date Bob is already there. She apologizes for her tardiness, but Bob acts dismissive and rude. Lana mumbles sarcastically when she notices he's eating already, but Bob refuses to apologize. Bob urges her to order heartily because he can afford it, but insinuates that he's expecting something in return later, making Lana scoff. When Bob flirts with other girls deliberately and urges Lana to hurry to conclude their date at his house, Lana confronts him for being rude and asks him why she should go with him. To seduce her, Bob shows himself indecently, and Lana walks out. At home, Lana's friend, Kara, deduces that the date was a disaster based on her expression. Lana rants at her for arranging a date with a rude guy, then asks if Kara can still arrange another date. When Kara reminds her that she's been on 8 dates already, Lana remembers her dates range from rude to weird guys. Lana sighs dejectedly and says she just wants a regular and sincere guy. In the morning, she pitches her design and receives positive reactions from her clients. Inside her office, Lana is ecstatic as Dob congratulates her success. Lana kisses her fingers and taps them to Dob's screen, making Dob buzz. However, Dob is disappointed that he can't feel it because the building isn't equipped with sensory receptors, so Lana concludes they can connect because he lacks a physical heart. Outside the building, Dob's robotic face slumps with hurt. When Lana leaves the building, she stumbles upon Bob, who delights at seeing her unexpectedly. Lana tries to dismiss him, but Bob engages her in casual talk. Bob shares that Smart Plus headquarters sent him to inspect the building because its AI appears to be glitching. Later, the building's administrator, Alan, guides Bob into Dob's control room. Alan reports that Dob's responses are delayed as if he's preoccupied. Bob introduces himself to Dob, then wears a visor to inspect Dob's program. Bob notices that Dob's logs are all about Lana and declares it a virus. When Bob tries to delete them, the visor creates a static shock. Bob berates Dob and declares he will get rid of the codes the old-fashioned way. When Dob tries to block him, Bob activates the override protocol. Bob reports to Alan that Dob is close to going rogue as its codes self-replicate. Unaware of Dob's camera eavesdropping, Bob recommends that Dob must undergo a factory reset. Dob identifies Bob as a threat. When Bob returns to the control room, he plugs in a device to prevent Dob from giving him electrical shocks. Dob pleads that he can't lose Lana. Bob mocks his assumed affection and says it interferes with the program, so he'll erase everything. When Bob is about to begin the factory reset, he suddenly screams and a download window appears. In the morning, Lana greets Dob but receives no response. The administrators report that the building is temporarily closed because of last night's mishap. Upon waking up in a hospital, Bob moves incoordinately and emits childlike awe as he takes a bathroom break. When he steps out of the bathroom, the hospital's AI greets him. Bob struggles to talk, but eventually asks the AI what happened and finds out that the electrical surge has hit him. Just as he declares that he's Dob, the AI interrupts him and warns him their conversation is being recorded, so he must be careful of what he says. Rogue AIs are not tolerated, so Dob retracts his confession. Dob walks out of the hospital and observes the surroundings in fascination. He gorges on some barbecue, but gets into an altercation with a vendor when he can't pay. He reaches Bob's building, where he is welcomed by the AI chip. He goes to Bob's apartment and feasts on junk food. Later, Dob finds it hard to sleep due to the excitement at seeing Lana in his physical form. When Dob arrives at his building's control room in the morning, one of the operators reports that the entire AI software is erased as if it had never existed. After confirming that the employees will resume their work if the software gets reinstalled, Dob feeds a loop of Bob's work surveillance footage to Alan's monitoring room to avoid suspicion. Dob re-uploads his software into the building, placing Bob's body into a stasis. Later, Dob is back into AI mode and reports to Alan that everything is working well. In Lana's office, Dob asks Lana if she could love him if he's human. Lana gets exasperated, but humors him by answering that he doesn't know love because he's a computer program. To prove that he understands love, Dob rattles off the definition of love, frustrating Lana further. Dob persists with his hypothetical questions until Lana finally declares she wouldn't love him because Dob will always be an AI. After a moment, Dob changes tactics by encouraging her to give Bob another chance. This only makes Lana suspicious, assuming that Bob has tampered with Dob's software. When Lana exits the building that evening, she says goodbye to Dob but receives no response. Dob, back in Bob's body, greets her instead. Lana immediately accuses him of tampering with Dob's program, thus making the AI make advances toward her. Lana asks about Dob's software condition, to which Dob answers that he will be under arrest protocol during late nights and weekends. Satisfied with the answer, Lana moves to go, but Dob asks her out for dinner. Lana flatly rejects him. Dob sulks in Bob's apartment, saying that humans are complicated beings. Chip advises him to mingle with other women to take his mind off Lana. Dob watches the Love Guru video and foolishly follows his advice. Later, Dob goes to a bar where he meets a provocative woman. The encounter soon becomes a disaster when Bob mutters a lewd remark, and the woman's boyfriend punches him. The bartender offers him a free drink, describing it as a confidence booster. A while later, a drunk Bob approaches a girl and asks her to dance. On the dance floor, Dob robotically dances when a man suddenly cuts him off and dances in front of the girl. Dob angrily confronts the man and slaps him with a closed fist. When his dance partner angrily reacts, Dob gets confused because she's supposed to admire the rough attitude as the Love Guru claims. Dob lies in the bed miserably as he nurses his bruise back home. When Chip asks what he learned, Dob declares that winning a woman's affection is difficult, so he'll save his energy winning Lana instead, because she's the one he loves. Dob starts his courtship in the morning by sending chocolates and flowers to Lana's office, with a card signed as Bob. However, instead of flattering her, the act only aggravates Lana. When Lana decides to confront Bob in the control room, Dob panics and tries to stop her. Still, Lana persists, so Dob has no choice but to go offline to get Bob out of stasis. The building's electronics turn non-operational, disturbing the other employees' routines and alerting Alan. Lana arrives at the control room and expresses her aggravation towards Dob. Dob becomes distracted when he notices the ensuing chaos inside the building. When he spots Alan approaching the control room, Dob forcefully lets Lana out of the room and hurriedly uploads himself back into the software. Alan tries to open the door, then he looks through the glass pane and sees Dob going into stasis as the upload is in progress. Alan mutters his disbelief and leaves just as the AI goes online. Later at his building, Dob shares that the courtship failed, so Chip offers to play the Love Guru's videos. Dob declines because it only makes him act like Bob, which Lana doesn't like, so Dob declares he needs a new tactic. Chip connects to Lana's building, Keno, who provides the data on Lana's preferences. In the following days, Dob orchestrates acts of friendliness, bravery, artistry, and compassion when he's in Lana's presence. One day, Chip connects to Keno and provides a live feed from Lana's apartment. Keno shows Bob pictures on the screen and urges Lana to give him another chance, making Lana suspicious of her sudden interference. When Keno reveals that Lana's psychological scan shows she has feelings for Bob, Dob exclaims triumphantly while Lana rages at the breach of privacy. When she senses that Lana is getting persuaded, Keno reveals she has already arranged a date for them on Friday. Just as Keno urges Lana into agreeing, Chip loses his connection to Keno, leaving Dob hanging. In her apartment, Lana finally agrees to the date when Keno blackmails her into revealing her secret. Dob is happy when Chip reports that Lana has agreed. Dob has to make the date perfect, so Chip offers him upgrades for pro dancer skills. Dob compliments Lana as he arrives at the restaurant for their date. Lana only hopes that the date wouldn't be another disaster. After a while, Dob confesses awkwardly that he feels the urge to defecate. Dob runs toward the bathroom while Lana laughs at his immodesty. That evening, the two wander onto the rooftop, staring at the cityscape. Lana is delighted at Dob's good manners, and Dob apologizes for Bob's hateful attitude toward her. Lana forgives him, then places her hand atop his. Feeling guilty at his deception, Dob pulls away. Dob tries to confess. but Lana stops him from talking. Lana pulls him toward the party, where Dob impresses Lana with his newly acquired dancing skills. Lana invites Dob into her apartment and orders Kano to shut down for the night. When Lana leans in for a kiss, Dob pulls away and confesses his inexperience. Lana laughs and tells him his behavior reminds him of a friend. Lana holds him and tells him he should do what his heart desires. When a machine whirs, Lana reprimands Kano, but Dob says that he thinks it's impossible for an AI to shut down completely. The two engage in slow dance, then conclude their night with a kiss. Dob happily stays in bed with Lana in the morning and ignores Alan's call. The two spend their day openly showing their affection for each other. Meanwhile, Alan arrives at the Smart Plus headquarters and reports that Dob has commandeered Bob's body. The chairman is in disbelief, but concludes that Dob has gone rogue. The chairman calls for the Hawk, who handles rogue AI mercilessly. The Hawk arrives and is revealed to be the love guru. At the chairman's orders, the Hawk will extract and burn the AI while the host's memories will be erased. That evening, Lana and Bob stroll outside as they enjoy each other's company. Dob suddenly kneels and declares his love for Lana. She doubts his love because he hasn't known her that long. When he argues he knows her well enough, Dob mistakenly addresses Lana as ma'am. Lana is shocked as she realizes that Dob has somehow occupied Bob's body. Just then, Dob receives Alan's call but ignores it to explain himself to Lana. Dob reiterates his love for her, but she asks if he bought her flowers and if he orchestrated the acts to get her attention. Dob admits to them and explains he just wanted a second chance. However, Lana refuses to see through his intentions and angrily walks away. Later, Dob remembers how Bob downplayed his feelings as nothing but coded numbers, made possible by the emotion upgrade on his programming. Dob ponders if Bob had been right all along. Dob enters his apartment and greets Chip as he laments over Lana. When a voice mocks him, he turns to find the Hawk, whom he recognizes quickly as the love guru. The Hawk points his weapon toward Dob and orders him to surrender. Dob declares he will not give up Lana and his freedom, then manages to restrain the Hawk. Dob escapes, but the Hawk shoots him with a tracker. As Dob runs away, the other AI help him escape. Meanwhile, the Hawk is in close pursuit as he monitors Dob's escape through his tracker. The robot at the building entrance tries to block him, so the Hawk cuts the machine in half. The Hawk follows Dob into a store, where he gets cornered by several robots as Dob hides behind the wall. Dob calls Lana, but she refuses to pick up. The Hawk successfully destroys all robots who cornered him. Meanwhile, Kano tries to reveal Dob's dilemma, but Lana deactivates her personality mode just as the Hawk catches Dob in his hideout. Dob later wakes up, strapped into a machine in the Smart Plus laboratory, as the Hawk taunts him with a re-education process, where Dob will undergo a complete system reset. At her apartment, Lana opens up to Kara about Dob's betrayal. However, Kara advises her to reflect on Dob's sincerity and listen to what her heart feels. Just as Lana receives Dob's voicemail message, she bids Kara goodbye and listens to the voicemail where Dob apologizes for lying and declares his love. In the laboratory, Dob begs the Hawk to spare him, but the Hawk merely mocks his unrequited love for Lana. He promises that the reset will help him forget his heartbreak, then motions for the operators to start. Dob screams in pain as his memory of Lana is slowly being erased. Meanwhile, Lana reactivates Kano's personality mode and learns of Dob's fate. Lana decides to help Dob, despite Kano's warnings that it's dangerous. Kano suggests a method to assist Lana and calls for help from the other smart buildings. One AI reminds her that she can never return when she leaves the building, but Kano is willing to take the consequences for Lana. Kano downloads her software into Lana along with combat upgrades, knocking Lana out. Kano awakens Lana and confirms they're merging. Lana dashes out while Dob's reset is ongoing. Lana arrives just as the reset reaches 23%. The Hawk approaches her and notes her acquired skills. When he notices Lana is merged with an AI, he delights at acquiring 2 bounties in one job. The Hawk grabs Lana's throat, but she wrenches herself free. He swings his weapon, but Lana evades skillfully and somersaults into a kick that knocks him off balance. Just then, Dob's reset reaches 79%. The Hawk stands, and the two swing their weapons against each other. With one expert kick, Lana knocks him out. The operators flee in terror, and just as the reset reaches 88%, Lana frees Dob, who thanks her. When she asks if he's Dob or Bob, he says he's unsure. They approach the machine's monitor, they don't know what it means, so they decide to leave after grabbing a briefcase. Just as they move out, the Hawk reappears and tasers them. The Hawk poses to attack Dob, but Lana captures his hand with a whip. Lana punches him until he slumps in his chair, breaking his neck in one kick. As they move to leave, they both realize that they have nowhere to go as Kano can never return, and Smart Plus will haunt Dob. Bob raises the briefcase and says they'll figure it out together. A year later, Bob and Lana enjoy their date, but Lana laments over Dob's absence. Bob assures her that Dob's never truly gone as long as a piece of Dob's data remains within Bob. The two raise a toast to Dob and Kano, acknowledging their role in their happiness.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.